Hello, and welcome to Sustainable Travel, Developing Conscious Travel in 2021 and Beyond. This is the introductory lecture for the course. And so this is part of Module 1. This lecture is also available. The slideshow is available to you as well. So if you want to go back over the slideshow or watch the video that's embedded in the slideshow, you may do that. In this module, we're going to talk about sustainability and how it relates to travel. And I'd like to talk to you about just the tourism, what I like to call the tourism paradox. International travel has become huge in the last several decades, and partially because it has become more accessible. The number of international tourist arrivals has greatly increased, mainly because of the availability of air travel to the public. And if we look at the first commercial jet that debuted in 1950, there were about 25 million international tourists worldwide. Fast forward to 2019, and that number increased to almost 1.5 billion international tourist arrivals worldwide. So, tourism became such a huge thing that the United Nations deemed 2017 as the International Year of Sustainable Tourism and Development because people started to recognize some of the issues that were coming about because of tourism. One of the positive things that did happen in by 2019 is a massive increase to the world's economy. If we look at market trends of 2019, travel and tourism directly and indirectly induced impact of the world's GDP. $8.9 trillion just from the United States contributed to the world's GDP. This accounted for 10.3% of the global GDP because of travel. And because of the tourist industry's development, 330 million jobs were related to the tourism industry. That means 1 in 10 jobs around the world were involved in the tourist industry. And so things were looking pretty good as far as the economy was concerned. But by 2019, because of the impact of over tourism, this became the buzzword of the industry by 2019. And so the tourism industry looked at 2020 as being the year of dealing with battling crowds. It was going to be the new focus of 2020. And so what ended up happening instead, as we all know, is that COVID-19 hit. And it seems as if the world temporarily closed. Everything came to a maddening halt. Instead of worrying about crowds in front of the Trevi Fountain, cafes became desperate to stay open. Vacations were postponed indefinitely. Flights were canceled. Refunds were being handed out like candy on Halloween, except 2020 kind of wrecked Halloween as well. Families were spending a lot of time stuck in their homes together. So instead of going to the beach or to the mountains or to a world-class museum, they were stuck at home. People were overwatching Schitt's Creek on Netflix. They were obsessed about how much toilet paper they had. They were spending holidays with families via Zoom, and they were using their vacation time and money to remodel their guest bathrooms while the travel industry arrivals plunged to up to 80%, according to the 2020 UNTWO report. And so we are posed with a option. If we go to back to normal and we go back to business as usual, the United Nations environmental research has indicated in a business as usual scenario, tourism would generate through 2050 an increase of 154% in energy consumption, 131% in greenhouse gas emissions, 152% in water consumption, and 251% in solid waste disposal. This is why sustainability must now define tourism development in the 21st century. And so, what are we going to do? We are being given an opportunity to reimagine the travel industry. And so I wanted to share with you a video that helps to explain that opportunity.
Whatever it is, coronavirus has made the mighty kneel and brought the world to a halt, like nothing else could. Our minds are still racing back and forth, longing for a return to normality, trying to stitch our future to our past and refusing to acknowledge the rupture. But the rupture exists. And in the midst of this terrible despair, it offers us a chance to rethink the doomsday machine we have built for ourselves. Nothing could be worse than a return to normality. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world. And ready to fight for it.
Okay, so 2021 is upon us, and it's, like I mentioned, it's going to be the year of reimagining travel. People are eager to redefine their goals, their future plans, and many are aching to travel again. And so, according to the Secretary General of the UNTWO, we need to work together to build a tourism sector that works for everyone, where sustainability and innovation are part of everything we do. And so now, the decade 2021 to 2030 has been deemed the decade of ecosystem restoration. And the United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres states tourism can be a force of good in our world, playing a part in protecting our planet and its biodiversity and celebrating what makes us human, from discovering new places and cultures to connecting with new people and experiences. The tourism industry not only has the opportunity, but also has the responsibility to redefine the way that we travel. So, we're going to be focusing on this course the three pillars of sustainability. And so, we need to look at what sustainability and travel is. It's basically a way to find ways that tourism can grow without harming natural and cultural and economic environments. And so the three pillars of sustainability that we're going to be focusing is the first one, and this is going to be part of module 2, is environmental, minimizing our carbon footprint. We're also going to be looking at the social pillar of sustainability and supporting local people and their cultures and making sure that they're able to sustain their way of life and to maintain their culture and their identity. And then lastly, the economic pillar is focusing on how we can positively contribute to the local economies. We're going to be discussing what is known as travel leakage and how we can help prevent the money that is spent by tourists from leaving the destination and helping development in those particular places. And so I'm really excited to talk to you further about sustainability and travel. We're going to continue on with the various modules and focusing on the three pillars of sustainability. You'll be watching a video and answering some questions in each of the modules as mentioned before. And so I just wanted to say thank you for letting me introduce the topic of sustainable travel, and I look forward to continuing.